When we talk about reservations, we have to take a couple of steps back and talk about tribes and treaties. Most reservations were created by treaties, so you have to understand that a treaty is an agreement between sovereign nations. Sovereign nations might include the United States government, might include France, but it also includes Indian nations. And treaties are agreements. They might be agreements of peace or something else. Most Indian treaties were negotiations of land exchange. The greatest misconception is that reservations were given to the tribes by the government. In fact, reservations were trades or negotiations of land exchange. Most tribal homelands were far greater in size and often retained spiritual significance. In the treaties, tribes ceded or gave over much or all of this land in exchange for much smaller parcels. But those parcels were reserved for their exclusive use, and those parcels were called reservations. For example, in the Hellgate Treaty of 1855, which the Salish, along with other tribes, signed, they ceded 22 million acres for a 1.25 million acre reservation. If you're wondering how big 22 million acres is, it's a little bit smaller than the state of West Virginia. Compare that to 1.25 million acres, which is a little bit smaller than the state of Rhode Island. Other land reductions in the state of Montana included the Blackfeet, who went from about 26 million acres to 1.5 million acres, and the Crow tribe. They signed the Fort Laramie Treaty of 1851 and had 38 million acres. But in 1868, that was reduced to 8 million acres, and later reduced to 5 million acres. Currently, they have just over 2.2 million acres, plus a ceded area of about 1 million acres. In 1904, the Crow were forced to give over the surface rights to that area, but they retained the underground rights, which for them is good because there's a coal deposit.